Hello all, welcome to my channel. This is Rajshekhar, and today in this video we'll see how to connect our Databricks workspace to Amazon S3 buckets. And normally we ingest the data from Amazon S3 buckets and we do some kind of transformations within Databricks, and we also use sometimes a PySpark, Spark SQLs and everything, and we transform the data and we save the data back to our Amazon S3 buckets. So this is how the process flows. So it's always prior important that we need to understand how to connect different data sources, different SQL servers, different buckets like Amazon S3 buckets and Microsoft Blob storage, so that we can extract the data and we can also do ETL transformations, extracting, loading, transforming, and cleaning the data and everything. So it's prior important that we need to understand the concepts of connecting our Amazon S3 buckets or different data lakes to our Databricks workspace. So we go back to our uh, Databricks workspace, and before we start anything, we'll log into our Amazon Web Services. So this is my uh, web services login. So I'll create my password, enter the passwords. I think there is some issues. We'll see how it works, right? I think yes, done. So this is my Amazon S3 buckets. So I've already created multiple buckets just to make sure that we are all on same path. We'll create a new bucket and make sure this bucket is a unique name so that other people do not use it. I would write as bucket. I will write September 2022. We'll see if it's available, and I think it is available. So, and then we would create it. Simple, right? So it might take some time. Yeah, it's done. So these are all three buckets which have made it. But before accessing these buckets, we need to have some kind of access key and the root key or the secret keys. So if for this particular video, what we could do is like if you hover to our users, in this you'll have security credentials. Click on it, and then you'll have this access keys and security secret keys, right? So I've already created some access keys and some secret keys, and make sure that once you click here, you will get a CSV file, and this is the only time which you will be able to see your secret key, and make sure that you save this CSV file or JSON file within your system. Yeah. If I click here, it shows the access key, but I'll not do it now. And you can download this file, and so that you can connect using these keys within your Databricks workspace. So for now, I'll close it. So this is how you create a secret access key and secret key. So I go back to our Databricks workspace. So within this, like we have seen earlier, you have to click on the create tables, right? So in within the DBFS, what I've done is I've stored those secret keys in this particular folder called Srinivasa access keys, right? So this is my file path wherein I have stored my access key and the secret keys. So what I would do is I'll just check it up percentage FS. So this by now you people uh, might be familiar on how to use these DB utilities, DBFS utilities, right? So this is the file which I want to access, but I don't want to show these credentials, especially in this video. After this video, I'll be deleting the files anyway. So just to make sure that this is the file which I have, and I'll do one thing. I'll create a Spark data frame. I would write as AWS keys data frame. I would write as Spark dot read dot format. So this is a CSV file. So I would write as CSV, and then option as header is equals to true, and then info schema. And this is not required, but still to be 100% sure, we would do this. Info schema is equals to true, and load dot load. I would copy this file path. So this is my Spark data frame, right? So what I would do is I will not show this, but I'll just see what kind of columns it has, the column headings it has, right? So that I can use those column headings in accessing my relevant data which I wanted in this, right? So if you could see, it contains a column called access key ID, and it also contains a column called secret key ID. So the first thing is what I would do is AWS keys. I would access those things. df, this is my Spark data frame, and I would write a select command. Okay. Within this, I would write this column name, access. But I'll copy this and then paste it here, right? So this is my column, and I would want to take it as the first value, uh, just to show you all how it works. So this is my access key, okay, but I'll not show you the secret key. So this is what I wanted, but I want only this particular value, not the entire thing. I don't want row, I don't want access key ID is equals to something, right? What I would do is like I would create select the first variable. So it has given me this, but I want only this particular variable. So what I could do is I could write the same access key ID so that it extracts only the desired, sorry, it extracts only the desired value which I wanted, right? So I will enter it. So this is my access key. Okay. So what I would do is I will create a variable access key is equals to this, and I would do the same thing for my secret key, right? I would copy the entire thing. I would paste it here. Instead of this access key ID, I would write as secret key ID, but this time I'll not show you how it looks, just for confidentiality purposes. And I would replace the same thing again with this, right? And I would create a variable called secret key, and that's it. Okay. So I have two variables now, one the access key and the other one is the secret key. So this is I got these two variables. And before we mount our S3 buckets, say for example, this is my S3 bucket, I'll write it as S3. What I would do is for simplicity purposes, could I do is like this is my bucket. This bucket which I wanted to attach to our Databricks workspace so that we can work with all these files without doing anything. Like directly we used to extract the files from Databricks workspace file stores and all. We could do directly from here. You don't have to come to S3 logins and everything. So you just have to mount it once and then it is done and ready for you, right? So just to attach this, what we could do is like this is my bucket name. So I would copy this. So this is my bucket name. Okay. So I'm going back to our Databricks workspace. So I would create a variable called Amazon S3 bucket in the capital letters, and this is my bucket, right? This is what we have created. And I will also create a mount name, and this can be anything for convenient purposes, but to make sure that you have to add this mount, and then this can be anything, like I would write as archives or mount S3. So this is my mount name. And then we need to have a source URL, right? I would write a source URL. So this source URL is the one which helps us in attaching our Amazon S3 bucket to our Databricks. So what I would do is, this is a syntax which is available within the Databricks itself. If you could go through the documentations, it will show you what it does. You write as percentage S at the rate, again percentage S. We have three strings. One is for the access key, and one is for the secret key, and one is for the Amazon S3 bucket, right? So we would write it as access key, and the second one is when we have to encode our secret key. I'll write as for the moment I'll write as encoded secret key, and then this bucket name, whatever we have created here, this variable, right? I'll create this here, right? But if I run this cell, it will give me an error message just because I have not created a variable called encoded secret key. So how do I do it, right? So before that, we need to import URL lib, okay? So using this URL lib, we will create a variable called encoded secret key, and this is just to secure our uh, usernames and the secret accesses. So what I would do is URL lib.parse. I would be passing this secret key dot quote. In this, I would write a string is equals to the secret key which we have created earlier. This is the secret key. So I'll copy this and I would paste it here, and then save is equals to blank. So this is our encoded secret key. And now if I run it, it will not give us any error message. So we have created different variables called access key, secret key, and the encoded secret key, right? And we have created a variable with our Amazon S3 bucket name and a temporary mount name. So this is the path wherein we access all our files available in this particular bucket directly from the Databricks, right? So once we have created the variables, we have to use Databricks utility functions, dbutils dot fs dot mount. So this is the first time which we are using it. So mount, we need to mount the source URL, right? And then the mount name. So which name we want to access these things, right? And if I press enter, it should attach our Databricks workspace with our Amazon S3 bucket. So it's running. Hopefully it will be done in a second, right? So once the uh, mount, bucket is attached, what we could do is, like, we can write as percentage fs, right? If you could see this is true, it means it is attached. So now how do we access it? Like, say for example, earlier we were doing percentage fs ls file store and tables, etc., right? If I run this, so it will give me the details of the files and folders which are stored in this particular location within Databricks. In the same way, I could access our S3 buckets. I mean, I can access all these files directly from our Databricks workspace without going to our things, right? So what I would do is instead of writing this, what I would do is I would add this one, right? This is my bucket, and if I write it out, I would copy and paste it here. And if I run this cell, it will give me all the files which are available in my S3 bucket, right? So if you could see, this is Mount S3, and data science project is a folder within my bucket. I'm going to this thing. So this is a folder, data sets is a folder. Go back to our this thing, extracted data set, Kaggle data sets. I mean, these are different folders which I've already stored within my Databricks, sorry, Amazon S3 bucket. So that's it. So you don't have to do this process again and again. This is a one-time activity. Once your Databricks is mounted with your Amazon S3, and whenever you terminate your clusters and create a new clusters, this mount will always be there with us. So you don't have to do this again and again, right? You can work all these things as if you are doing on a local workspace, right? So say for example, what I would do is I would for example, I'll create a data frame with this particular CSV file. So what I could do is write spark dot read dot format CSV options header equals to true. Uh, just bear with me. I'm just wanted to show how it works. I mean, you don't have to worry about uh, having connecting to your S3 bucket next time, right? So just dot load and then give us the file path, right? So this is my S3 bucket, and I could write as AWS S3 DF, right? So that's it. So if I write AWS S3 DF, then I would write it as display and then done. So we are reading the data set which is available in my Amazon S3 bucket, and we have created a data frame, and this is the data frame which we have extracted from the S3 buckets, right? So that's it for this video, and thank you all for watching. Thanks a lot.